All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back. Excuse me, to the King's Speech. Uh, Apologize for the change in setting and background and everything. I'm kind of relaying out my office space to make it a little bit more user friendly for me. So right now it's kind of in a little bit of a mess that you can't see, but I've got a bunch of stuff lying on the floor and everything behind me. Hopefully, I'll have it. I should have all the new furniture and everything getting by next week. So hopefully, I have a new layout ready by then. But until then, this will have to do. So not too much more to say, I think. So let's just dive straight into it with One Piece chapter 994. My other name is Yamato. Oh Lord. As we see the lovey-dovey ship of Gang Beige and his goons just sailing away into the sunset, being chased by the Marines, as we have a little stylized fin for Gang Beige's Oh My Family final volume. The blissful ship sails on through celebration cannons. So I guess Oda's going to keep us in the dark about the whole Lola chiffon pudding, Loki subplot, whatever. I feel like we're probably going to get a glimpse of that again, and if Wano gets another act to it, but we'll see. Honestly, I feel like this dragged on way too long for the cover story. Like for this to be the ending, the cover story dragged on way too long. But might be just because Oda has something planned for chapter 1000, so he felt like he had to drag it out. Whatever the next cover story is, we shall see. As always, we have translation with Stephen Paul, lettering by Vanessa Satone. So we pick up where we left off last time with a drum. And I was just kind of sorry. I thought Kaido was like waving his head back and forth and doing things. No, just pick up where we left off last time with him sending out the scything wind blades. And Kiku falls with a thump. And Arm just goes with a glonk and lands behind her after it got forcibly severed. And you see Kaido just kind of staying down, and you see that some of his goons have also got caught up in the blast as they're all running away in fear from his attacks. And you see Shishilian and some others thing waking up finally as Inuarashi goes, "Get away from the roof!" Like, "Yes, sir!" And you see a foomp, or as you see Izo going up to Kiku and helping her tie up her arm to stop the bleeding. And the foom, and you see Kinemon using his Foxfire style to use a flaming blade to cauterize her wound. And as you have Kinemon going, "Can you stand, Kikunojo?" And she's like, of course. And you see Izo looking worried. And you see Kaido going, "Whoa, ro, 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 ro." Yes, that's it. That sense of determination. I love the way of the samurai. Now Roger and Whitebeard, they did it right. And you see Wheeze Wheeze as Dogstorm and Cat Viper both out of breath. Apparently, Sulong Farm's probably taking it out of them. And you see Kaido with the Zuzuzum going, "It may not be the way of the times anymore." As he goes back into his human form, his club hoisted on his shoulder, as he goes, "But death is what completes a person. Isn't that true?" So he goes, "So, let's end this now." With a doom as he glares at the Akazaya, and Kinemon goes, "Don't be conceited, Kaido. There is no glory in losing to you." And you see first castle level of, it's Strawhead and Jinbei. They're really tough. Watch out. And you see, hurry, we gotta get to Kinemon. And you see, oh my god, I don't know why this gag is a thing, but yeah, Shitji getting all pissed off because like, "Why didn't you mention Blackleg?" Who the hell cares about him? And Jinbei's like, "Come on, we gotta move. I want to beat Kaido too." I was like, Jinbei or is that Luffy? I have no idea who's saying that. And you see, "You guys are pathetic." It's like, it's, oh my god. It's Fortrix and Hamlet. We can't slow these guys down. Oh, what the hell is this crap? My God, it's like ordinary. That word applies to you. It's like pipe down. Expectations? That's what we surpass. And you see these dumbass looking gifters. You have Animal Kingdom Pirates headliner Four Tricks with the chicken smile fruit, where his face is grown out of the chicken's ass, and it's just, oh my God, what the hell? And the other one is Animal Kingdom Pirates headliner Hamlet, giraffe smile fruit, and you've got this guy just looking grown out of the giraffe's head. Oh my God, ridiculous characters. I see Jinbei and Shitji in typical style, like, stop growing like that! And you see a pacaw and a ref as they get punched and kicked off to the side. And you see Sir Hamlet, Sir Fortrix. Oh my God. You see Performance Floor's like, I've been bitten. And you see another one of the samurai starting to turn into an ice oni. Jab, wah ha ha! Like, I'm so cold, help me. And Jeff, why did you do this to us too, Master Queen? Yeah, ha 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 ha! It's like, I'm so cold, I'm turning into an oni. And you see what some of the smiles or gifters also turning into onis. Oh, it's a pleasure, God. I completely forgot those guys existed. Queen's like, so what, pleasures? All you do is laugh anyway. Maybe now you'll be useful. Mwahaha! And he's like, grah! As you see a bunch of the onis. I don't know if that's the one of the minks that looks like it's been transformed into an ice oni or what. But you see them just grabbing more samurai, laying waste to them. Is this some plague? Don't let your skin touch them. Use weapons. And you see all the ninjas kind of backs to each other as they're going, what is he thinking? Queen's gone mad. The only your attacking friend and foe alike. And you see Boss Yogoro. Boss Omasa has been infected. It's like, I'm sorry, Boss Yogoro. If I'm only going to harm my own people, then it's better to... You see, as he's transforming, he's trying to commit suicide and stab himself. Ugh, he's really itchy. It's like, no, you fool, don't! He's like, I don't want to be a monster. And Yogoro's like, there must be a cure, and if there's no other way, I'll cut you down, but never end it yourself. And you see, it's like, stop it, my brother. You know me, we joined this pirate crew together. This is too cruel, Queen. How can you do this to your own? And you see one of the gifters or pleasures, I can't tell which, attacking each other. And you see, aye! And you see Chopper going, I can't whip up an antidote administered to all these in the midst of battle. It's practically impossible. As he, Brooke, and Robin are standing back to back with fucking 2x4s in their hands, being like, get back, you Oni, get back. And Brooke's like, then? It's like, but unlike back in Udon, the mastermind behind the virus is right there. Whoever cultivates that virus must also have the antibodies. If we can just get those, then I can make a ton of medicine. Oh my God, all right. We'll talk about that at the end of the chapter. And Brooke's like, and it had to be a lead performer. Stealing the antidote will be no easy task. And you see Chopper going, I'm less worried about the way they're going out of control than I am about the after effects. It's increasing their ferocity and muscle mass while freezing the skin. And you see Katank as Zora just slams onto the ground. And you see the body just can't handle that kind of stress. Zora's like, what can we do to keep them down? What are they, zombies? And you see Robin going, but if we just abandon the infected, then... And you see Queen just standing up there proudly as he's on his megaphone goes, they'll die! You get infected, you'll last an hour at best. Oh my God, alright. Again, we'll talk about this at the end. Who's been turned into an ice oni? Your friend, your boss, your subordinate? They might be as strong and lively as they've ever been in their lives. But you have an make sure you hug them one last time before they go. Catch the fever. Don't miss it. Mwahaha. See, no, stay back. And Apu's like, another sick new weapon. That guy's a real piece of work. He's like, I'm getting off this floor. Open the door already. And he seems to smacking on a door. As Queen goes, hey, brother Apu. And he tosses him something. He's like, huh? What's this? God. See him grabbing a tiny little bottle, and as he goes, the only antibodies in the world. And Apu's like, oh, for the ice oni. Excuse me. And Queen goes, if they take that from you, I'll slaughter you myself. He's like, excuse me? And Queen's like, okay, I think we're ready to start. Queen presents game night. He's like, huh? So you gotta give him a fighting chance, right? No game. Killing betrayal, no rules whatsoever. It's like, antidote? Like, let's play some freeze tag. Antidote? It's like, Zoro, grab that from him. So you got it. So don't let the enemy have it or our guys will die. Don't let the samurai recover. And you see everyone just chasing after Apu. It's like, what are you thinking, Queen? This is insane. And Jeff, if you can play keep away for an hour, you win, Apu. They'll all be dead. Mwahaha. Steal and kill, do whatever it takes. And you see right brain tower inside the dome. Do you really think you can get away with them under your arms, young master? And you see Momo asking, who are you? The Sasaki goes, all we have to do is kill that boy and our mission is complete. And you have Shinobu going, I don't know who you are, but if you're on our side, please, I beg of you, save Lord Momonosuke. And you have Yamato going, I'll save you too, Shinobu. I saw you 20 years ago at the execution of Kozuki Oden. And you see baby Yamato with the Oni mask. And you see, huh? And you see Shinobu's little speech, she's just crying, going, so tell me again, who are you calling a fool of a lord? As Yamato goes, your words brought tears to my eyes. The life of Kozuki Oden brought tears to my eyes. Oh my god, alright. And you see, as you boom, boom, and a whoo, and you see this giant explosion engulfing Yamato. And you see Momonosuke, on that terrible day, I ran to Kuri to save your life. And Momo's like, huh? How? How are you fine? And Yamato's like, but I'm sorry. All I could do was watch as Kaido dangled you over the edge. And you see Saki looking shocked that Yamato's completely unharmed. And Yamato's just like, back then, as boom, as he just swings his mace forward, I didn't have the strength. Nice. And you see just the shockwave taking the hedgehog porcupine looking guy on Queen's crew. And it sends them just flying back with a slam into the wall. And Sasaki's looking in shock at Yamato's power. As Momo goes, who are you? And Yamato goes, I used your father's name earlier, but my other name is Yamato, and I would die for you. Oh, badass pose. Next chapter hits November 15th. Looks like we're on break next week. Mistake, good to see you, sis. It really makes me nauseous seeing Jinbei and Chichi in the same panel. Completely agree. Like, honestly, can we just, when we're sailing away from Wano, can we just leave Chichi behind and pretend like he was a casualty of the war? We never have to see him again. Mystic also commented, so tired of hearing Oden's name. Oh, you and me both. Like, I know Oda thinks he did like so well. I know Oden's like apparently super popular with a large part of the fandom. But again, I reiterate, Oda did not put in enough work for the number of times that he's going back to the Oden well to try to gain like some kind of emotional response. It is not working the way I think he thinks it does. So as always, I'll kind of go through chapter page by page with my thoughts. Yeah, so Kiku's arm is chopped off, and I'm like, I know a lot of people commenting last time I was going through forums and things that, why do people think that your Law's just going to stitch the arm back on? Because when Law's arm got cut off, he needed Leo's help, and all this and that, and like, all right, now the people that are seeing this are going to be like, yeah, look, you guys are proven wrong. They had to cauterize the wound. Oda's taking this seriously. This still doesn't prove anything. Like, yeah, obviously Oda's not gonna like in the middle of battle be like, oh hey Kiku, just stick your arm back on, no problem. I'll just go get Law from wherever he is. He'll come back, we'll take a 5-minute break, he'll stitch your arm on, then we'll go on like everything's normal. Like, obviously that's not the way it's gonna work. But until this arc ends, we actually get confirmation that Kiku's arm is not going to get reattached. None of this really has an impact on me to kind of amplify the tension in any way. So apart from that, we'll see how it goes. Right now, I still have no faith in Oda to actually deliver on any of this, and that really is 100% on him. And I'll talk about that more because that relates to stuff later in the chapter. So this the stuff with Kaido, I'm kind of on two minds about again because there's the ideas I have about what Oda could potentially be doing with him and his character arc just based on the tidbits we have because we don't have the full backstory yet, right? And then there's just the tidbits that we have that could go in any kind of direction, and it might not end up being like a satisfactory kind of story. But the thing that struck me about this was like way back at the start of one, I was kind of speculating on, Kaido's like whole desire to die. Like, why does he want to die and everything like that? And people are speculating like, oh, he just wants a grand death, blah blah blah. And I think I speculated something along the lines of, what happened with Hero. Like, I speculated on whether Kaido wants to die. I speculated on whether Kaido actually wants to die, or whether his biggest fear is being, forgotten and being wiped from the annals of history. And the thing that struck me as I was going through the chapter was Rox's legacy. Because I think whatever Kaido's backstory is eventually going to end up being, I think it's going to be tied to whatever happened to Rox, and potentially Rox having been betrayed by Big Mom and the other allies, at God Valley when he was cornered by Roger and Garp, which made me wonder if that's what, that's going to be part of the reason, like Kaido's whole thing is like, oh, I want to make a lasting impact. And the biggest way I know how to do that is through war. Because he mentions, Roger, whose legacy kind of really took off after death, where he started the golden age of pirates. He went down the history books, and he kind of influenced the next generation. And same with Whitebeard. Like, Whitebeard also put an end to one great era, and he kind of kickstarted another great new pirate age with everything that happened with him. So I wonder if the same thing is what Kaido's going for. And I wonder if he's afraid of being forgotten like Rox, because we know when the Marines were talking about Rox, they said that, he's basically been wiped from history. God Valley, you can't find anywhere on the map. They kind of tried to tamper it down so no one knows what happened there. So I wonder if that's going to tie into Kaido's whole thing about, like, death is what completes a man, because it's only through that he can kind of make his mark on the world. Morning Haze comments, do you think Kaido makes it out of Wano? I don't think so. No, I think... So here's the way I see it. Either way, I think Kaido dies at the end of Wano. I don't think there's any way of getting around that, but there's two different ways I kind of see it happening. So the thing is, Luffy is not going to be the one that ends up killing him. The Scabbards are not going to kill him at any point. I still think that Kaido will take down the Scabbards, and then Luffy will have to be the one that finally takes him out in like a team effort with the other supernovas, and he'll defeat him. But the question then becomes like, all right, who is going to be the one to kill Kaido? I still am on the side of the theory that Blackbeard is going to show up at some point during Wano. He's going to come in at the end, and he's going to kill Kaido. There's still some debate and speculation on whether Blackbeard is after Kaido's Dragon Zoan fruit, like whether he's going to kill him, take that, complete his trifecta of having the strongest Zoan, Logia, and Paramecia fruit. So I definitely see that happening. The only place in where I differ and kind of like have my own little idea that I think would have more impact is if Kaido does end up being a sympathetic villain, and at the end he kind of decides that, living would be better than dying, and then Blackbeard kind of swoops in and then ends up killing him. I think that would be a far more impactful moment. I think it'd make Blackbeard a bigger bastard than he already is, and would really do a lot more to cement him as a villain. So yeah, I say Kaido dies at the end. the circumstances of which will have to be determined at a later point. But yeah, I don't think he makes it out of Wano just because there's been too much like thematic buildup around the importance of death to him. So I think it just comes down to how he's going to go out and what impact that's going to have on the world at large and kind of the overall story as well. Mr. commented, the juxtaposition between the Scabbers versus Kaido and Luffy crew running up the tower is so jarring to me. Going from a tense life or death situation, hard cutting to a gag is awkward. Yeah, honestly, I have to agree. Like, I know this is kind of like the thing that a lot of people talk about. It's like, oh, this is the Oda formula. He never sits with just one emotion. He blends, comedy and drama and this like all together seamlessly. But post time skip, he's been struggling a lot more with finding that balance between maintaining tension and the humor and the drama without having one like overpowering the other, making it seem awkward and yeah, awkward and mismatched. And it feels like with Wano, that's been one of the biggest issues he's had. Is he keeps trying to reiterate like, oh, we're facing two emperors, like, oh my god, it's gonna be such a huge struggle. We're the underdogs, but then he keeps undercutting it, underplaying it by having the Straw Hats, constantly joking around and not taking Kaido or his goons seriously, and tossing in like jokes like Hamlet and these guys and things, which really does undercut a lot of the stuff he's going for. Like again, like we've had characters and moments like these back in other arcs, like in Water 7. We had the judge characters, the one where Jinbei and Shitji punched Hamlet and four, I can't even remember his name. That's how much of an impact he had on me. But back in Whiskey Peak, when I was Mr. Five, Miss Valentine showed up, and Zoro, Luffy did the same thing. He's trying to obviously draw on those same moments again to kind of have like the same comedic impact, but the timing is off, and it just feels totally inconsistent in Wano compared to previous arcs. So I don't know. I have to I have to do like maybe a mini video on that, just on why it feels like it's so tonally dissonant in Wano compared to previous arcs, but it definitely does feel like that. Morning Ace goes, that would be incredible character development if he ends up not wanting to die. I'm hoping so, because right now, what Kaido and his Goonies need more than anything is character development. And I want to talk about this specifically because there's another scene I want to talk about in relation to my ideas. But we're almost 100 chapters into Wano, and I don't really care about Wano or the citizens. I don't really care about the Scabbards. Kaido and his crew aren't really like compelling villains either. The Straw Hats even don't feel like themselves at this arc. So it's like, all right, Oda, what did you spend 100 chapters doing if I'm just ambivalent about every single group in this arc at this point, and at the supposed climax of the arc, and I'm this ambivalent about all these groups? Like, there's something you're not doing wrong. So I'm hoping when we get the eventual Kaido backstory, like Oda finally ramps it up again, it makes me care. But right now, it's just Kaido's like, yeah, I mean, he's an interesting character, but there's just like right now, it's just anticipation of what he might be, not really what he is. Mystic Comments is like, I don't know what it is about this arc. It's not bad. I just don't give a fuck about it. This is the most disinterested I've been in One Piece. That is 100% my mood right now. Like, every week I feel so bad because I see everyone on my timeline being like, oh, Wano's so great. One Piece is the best it's ever been. It's like, oh, this arc is just straight fire. And I'm like, is it really though? Like right now, the arc I hate the most in all of One Piece is Whole Cake Island. And right now, Wano's ranking even below that arc, because I'm like, at least Whole Cake Island had some good, interesting bits, like thematic moments. I can't even say that about Wano. Like, it's just so bland and blasé. Like, every week is just me waiting to see, like, all right, is anything I speculated going to come true? Is there going to be a point where this arc finally does pick up? And, is my favorite character going to come back? Like, that's the only reason I'm reading the series at this point. There's not really anything in this arc itself that's kind of making me be like, yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next week. Like the big appeal of One Piece used to be like reading it week to week and be like, oh my god, what's happening next? What's the answer to this mystery going to be? What's going to happen to these characters? But with Wano, it's like, oh yeah, I guess the chapter's out. Oh, I guess I should go, have some thoughts on it. Like, so it's just, Morning Haze goes, Whole Cake Island made me lose interest. I was hoping one would make me fall back in love with the story, but it's lol. Oh, biggest mood. After Whole Cake Island was like, oh, please, like Wano has the potential to be one of the best arcs in this series. Like I had high hopes that would end up, dethroning one of my other top three arcs to become one of the top three, if not at least top five in the series. And I'm bitterly disappointed. It's not even cracking like top 20 arcs so far. Like, given how much build up and impact it's supposed to have on like the overall story, and it's not even cracking my top 20, like, Oda, you done messed up real bad. But yeah, let's keep going before I get back to comments again because I kind of got derailed, sidelined. Kinamon's line of like, don't be conceited, there's no glory in losing to you. Again, if I cared about the Akazaya 9 and Oden, maybe this would be a little bit more impactful, but right now it's kind of like, Shit, gee, I don't know why Oda's just like, I don't know if Oda at this point doesn't even know what he wants to do with him. And that's why he's like, all right, I'm just going to toss gag after gag after gag to him, and then maybe that'll make him interesting again. But good lord, I didn't think it was possible for me to hate him even more than I did. But Oda really does his best every week to make that the case. That said, I did like the ridiculousness of Fortrix and Hamlet. Like I said, they're like the judge characters or like the three generals, whatever from previous arcs. Good for a gag, but that's about it. Which brings us to the Ice Onis. And again, this I mentioned last week on Twitter, like because I forgot to mention during the chapter reaction. Like this gives me such Caesar's Land of the Dead vibes, where you have, like, oh my god, there's this deadly disease, and we have this timeline to save everyone else. We're all gonna die, and like, oh, they're gonna get encased in, there's like this ice thing, and it's supposed to make Queen be like, oh, here's this reprehensible bastard, and we're supposed to like hate him and despise him for what he's doing. But again, like I've mentioned this before, and I kind of reiterate that Oda did not do enough to make us invested in the citizens of Wano or the samurai or their struggles. And so when he keeps trying to dip back into this well of trying to make us sympathetic to their plight, when they're like, oh, we're being forced to hurt the people we love, we're forced to be hurt our family, our brothers, whatever. And you have the Yakuza boss being like, oh, I'm going to kill myself before I hurt my subordinates. And Hyogoro being like, oh, no, don't do that, man. It's like, I'll save you before I kill you. I can tell what emotional impact or what emotional response Oda wants to elicit, but there's just nothing there. Like, I'm just reading this and being like, yeah, I guess. Wow, it's so sad. They're going to be killed. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, the horror. Like, there's no emotional thing to it. And like, oh my god, I just don't care for this whole stupid like subplot of Chopper being like, oh shit, guys, we gotta go get the antidote and everything. We have to do this in 1 hour or else they'll all die. Like, the problem with it is we know that there is gonna be no consequence to this. Like, the hour deadline means jack shit when back during Punk has where we thought, like, oh, as soon as you get swept with by the land of the dead, you're dead. That's it. There's no going back. And then at the end, Oda just revealed that, oh no, Caesar's a terrible scientist. The land of the dead actually doesn't work. It takes a full day for the effects to settle in. So as long as we go back inside, break them all out of their shells, and bring them back, they'll all make 100% full recovery. No problem whatsoever. So when Oda tries to pull that with Queen right now, being like, oh, we have to get the antidote or else it'll be long-term damage and these guys will die within an hour. I guarantee, even if they don't get the antidote, even if the hour timeline goes up, for tension, Oda will be like, "Oh, don't worry, they're fine." Chopper mixed up some magical cure. They'll cure them all within 2 seconds. Especially in the same arc when Chopper was like in Udon prison. They're like, "Oh, Queen had this diabolical virus that makes you get infected and do all this." And Chopper whipped up a cure in like 2 seconds. Like, "Okay, Luffy, you're cured. All you samurai guys, you're cured." And when he does that, it's like, what? Why am I supposed to be feeling tension? Why am I supposed to be feeling sad for these guys when I know that there's gonna be nothing dangerous that actually happens to them? Like, why am I supposed to be scared or feeling tension or anything when there's no consequence? And the fact that Oda's trying to pretend like, no, guys, you gotta take it seriously because this time I actually mean it. They will die. Like, it's just an annoying kind of time waster. And I don't know, like it just annoys me. Or just trying to pretend like, there's real consequences and the real stakes when we know he's going to undercut it at some point. Right. And up to this point, like, given the fact that none of the Straw Hats really showed any particular care or concern for any of the citizens of Wano. And then for now, them pretending to be like, oh my God, oh no, these people are going to die. We actually care about them now. Again, there's that dissonance between like, do you really care about them though? Like, do you really give a shit if any of these people die or live? Like, I don't know. It just, ugh. Sticks said, don't get me started on Whole Cake Island. That arc was a pile of shit. Oh, it totally was. I do not understand. That arc gets so much love, and I do not understand why. I really don't. Morning Haze comment, agree, man. As a reader, I feel no fear in the story right now, right? Like, I see so many people pointing out, like, oh, there's so much tension and stakes, and every week it's just getting higher and higher. And I'm like, what tension? What stakes? It's like, yeah, Kika got her arm cut off, but like, that doesn't really mean anything when you have a miracle doctor who can cure anything. And one of the arcs literally had like a Deus Ex Machina character who was like, oh, my tears will heal everyone and everything. So don't worry about it. Like, at what point do you not look back at Oda's history and think like, yeah, this guy is obviously bullshitting us. Why should we, take this seriously? Mystic pointed, Hishiro Sensei posted a picture he drew of a trash can and title was such. That is a boss move and mad respect for Kishiro Sensei for doing that. Oh, I love that. And Morning Ace comment, someone told me Sanji might take out Kaido. Oh my god. I've seen so many, oh my god, like Zoro's gonna take out Kaido, or Sanji's gonna do this, like Zoro's gonna do that. I'm like, do you guys remember what series you're reading? Like, you remember what Oda's formula is, and you think he's just somehow like magically gonna break it this far in the series just for like what, like some reason? It's like OP fans are wild at times. That they are. So yeah. Honestly, this whole bullshit with Appa is probably just gonna end up with him turning sides because he's like, oh, these guys are assholes. And they're probably gonna like rescue him or something. I don't honestly know. I don't care about any of these guys. But I almost guarantee that that's a bullshit antibody. The Queen hasn't actually given Apu the right one. The only kind of two scenarios which would make this kind of like remotely amusing is Queen turning out like Queen does have the antibody. He ends up breaking it. He gets infected, and he gets infected by the Oni, and then he has to remake an antibody or cure for it. That would be mildly amusing, but it wouldn't still have the same impact as it does. This hour timeline, like I don't know why he's like I figure the hour timeline will be the point where Luffy gets up to the roof, and then the other Straws will like come up and join him after that, just to give him that kind of delay. But we'll see. Again, it's just kind of like a minor inconvenient subplot that's more annoying than it is actually compelling or interesting. Before I forget, I do have to point out, I think some people did mention they trolled back to the prior panels and pointed out like chapters and chapters ago that Yamato was with the execution. So here they got their confirmation that Yamato was indeed there. But again, this is the part where I'm kind of like have mixed feelings on it because I like Yamato as a character. and I want Yamato to get like more screen time, more development. But the fact that a lot of Yamato's, development and background up to this point relies on, Shinobu's half-assed kind of speech about how great Oden was, and how a lot of Yamato's kind of drives based on, his admiration for Oden kind of undercuts the character a lot because Oden was not a good character. Like Oden was one of the weakest backstory characters we've ever gotten in the series. And so try to put like this emotional draw with Yamato being like, oh, I was so inspired by Oden. It falls so flat with, these powerful emotional moments where Yamato's like, oh, I failed back then to kind of like live up to, this person's ideals and dreams, but not anymore. It really does get kind of hampered by how lackluster Oden's backstory was. And then that kind of brings me to the other thing with Yamato that also kind of just struck me right now because we again look with the whole my other name is Yamato. I am Kozuki Oden and all that thing. Because I did a few videos where I was kind of talked about the whole where I talked about the whole mask kind of theme and like what Oda could potentially do with that and what he might be doing with that in the future for this story arc. And the one kind of tangential concept related to that I never brought up, and I'm kind of amazed I missed out on it, was how wearing a mask relates to being a superhero. And I'm like, oh shit, how did I miss this? Especially with relation to Yamato? It's like, all right, what do kids do a lot, when they're young, when they're watching TV, whatever, right? They put on the mask of a superhero and they're like, oh, I am Batman, I am Superman, I'm Spider Man, whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, like maybe that's what Oda was going for with, Yamato going, well, I am Kozuki Oden, is like a kid playing dress up and going, I am Superman, I'm Spider Man, I am whatever. And as soon as I thought of that, I'm like, oh shit, this just makes me even more apprehensive now because if Yamato's final storyline ends up being like, oh, I was just like a kid playing dress up. I was putting on a mask and pretending to be a superhero or a folk hero, whatever. Because I idolize them so much. And if Oda's gonna kind of backtrack and be like, oh yeah, Yamato's actually not a trans masculine person. It was just Yamato was just confused, and now they're finding out their own identity and all that. I It would feel kind of baity for Oda to have done that and kind of backtrack on it with Yamato, which is why I don't really like how much he's dragging out this, my other name is this, I am Kozuki Oden this. Because I just want to get an answer to what the hell Yamato's deal is so I can stop worrying about how or whether Oda's going to be screwing up his character arc and like everything that's going on with it. So I'm kind of torn between that being like, yeah, there's a really cool theme that you could explore here, but do I really trust the Oda at this stage and the way he's writing now to actually handle it with the nuance and the care that it deserves, right? Especially because I think 99% of the fan right now thinks that we're at the climax of Wano. I've seen even a few prominent YouTubers who were kind of adamant up to this point that, yeah, the raid's going to fail. Wano can't end here, kind of backtracking as well and being like, well, maybe I'm wrong and Wano is going to end here. So I don't know. Like, I'm really hoping this is not the end and that there is more to it. I hope that, the prime aspects of Wano are coming up because there is a lot of good thematic stuff. There's a lot of good storytelling there that can still be mined, even though it's been so lackluster thus far. But I don't know if Oda's actually going to do that or if he's just going to kind of like rush through it because of his timeline. But I'm waiting for the moment where I feel the same way about Wano that every other fan feels because I'm tired of like coming to this series every week and being like, yeah, it's fine, I guess, but it's not really the best the series has to offer, and I know it can do better. So I don't know. Mr. Comment, I would love for Sanji to take out Kaido and give me a good reason to drop One Piece for good. Oh, I'm like so close to like just dropping this series. Like it really does. I really do have to kind of like motivate myself to do these reactions some weeks just because I feel so like bleh about the series. I'm just like, do I really want to talk about it? Or just want to like skim it and just, like wait till something interesting happens? And honestly, at this point, I'm reading it primarily like for two reasons. One is just pure spite because I want to see if any of my theories or ideas come true. And one is just to see some of my favorite characters come back to see if Oda screws them up or if he's going to like keep stringing me along to see if they get better. But the moment, like, because right now I'm reading for like Tashigi and Croc are like my two characters who I really want to see like what happens to them, what direction the story arc might go. And if either of them comes back and like Oda just completely fucks them up, that's the point where I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna drop One Piece at that point. I'll skim it occasionally, maybe now and then, like find out at the end what the mysteries are. But that'll be the point where my investment in the series just completely drops out. Morning Haze. Like I hope he doesn't backtrack with Yamato, but I can feel it coming. Yeah, like oh, don't like I want to hope for the best, and I know a lot of the fans I see on my Twitter are like really excited about Yamato. And they're like, "Oh, I love this character." And like, "Oh, I hope he joins the crew." And I'm like, I want to be excited, but his backs or Ayakota's history speaks for itself. He does not have a good track record, and like Kinemon calling Kiku like Kikunojo like dead naming her again. This is like one of those things where it's like I don't feel it feels kind of weird because I'm like, all right, does Oda even understand the concept of what a dead name is? Like, does he is he that educated on translates that he'd be able to know when he's making a blunder or a fuck up like this? And I don't think he does, which kind of makes it hard to talk about this being like, when the author doesn't even have enough knowledge about this thing to know to get the basic stuff right. How do you just comment on it without being like, yeah, just getting frustrated as hell about it? But Kinemon like calling Kiku Kikunojo, I'm just like, come on, man. Just we expect the bare minimum, and you can't even do that much every week. Like it's just so hard to try to not be pissed off at Oda. And it's like pure spite. I love it. Yeah, honestly, that is what drives most of my stuff these days is just pure spite. I live on it. I inject into myself every day. That's what keeps me going. But yeah, honestly, like Yamato and Kiku are like the only two characters in Wano I'm curious as um yeah, the only two characters I'm kind of even semi invested in just because they are even though Oda's doing a so-so job of them with them so far, they're the only two I'm kind of like are intrigued to see where it goes, especially in relation to Crocodile and his potential secret with Ivankov. That's what's kind of driving me to figure out like, all right, is Oda going to connect those three characters somehow, like do something with that? Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Like at this point, I really hope he's not going to screw it up, but I don't have much faith. But we'll see. So OP is on break next week. So I'm going to try to attempt NaNoWriMo this year, but like differently from everyone else that kind of does it. So rather than writing a story, I'm going to try to do a little bit of work on some video scripts. I've had ideas rolling around for a while that I've been meaning to get around to, but never really had like time, motivation, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to do some work on that for NaNoWriMo. Also for next week, instead of One Piece reaction, I'm going to try to get a video out talking about Oden and kind of why his backstory is so lackluster, and kind of I'm going to tackle some other talking points some other fans have used. So hopefully I'll have that out by next week. Mystic said intrigue usually leads to disappointment. Yeah, that's true. I mean, at this point, I'm trying to kind of temper my expectations and not expect too much. But honestly, apart from like that's all One Piece really has going for it at this point is just, is Oda going to give me a satisfactory answer to these mysteries he's built up? As time goes on, the answer is becoming more and more like, no, probably not. I'm going to probably be really super disappointed, but I'll have to wait and see. Morning Hay says, have you read any Jujutsu Kaisen? Ash, that keeps me going after reading One Piece. I've heard a lot of good things about Jujutsu Kaisen. I got about 20 chapters into it. I had a really hard time finding myself trying to like get invested into the story. But because I've heard so many good friends kind of recommend talk about how good it is, I'm probably going to give it another chance. So this week sometime I'll probably go through the chapters and try to give it another read. Or maybe I'll watch the anime and see if the anime like grips me in more than the manga does. But I'll report back with my next video. I'll let you know how that went and whether Jujutsu Kaisen, like whether I reached a point where it like sucked me in. But yeah, right now, kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen is not really. Right now, the two other series that I read in Shonen Jump regularly is Spy Family and Kaiju Number 8, both of which I really, really enjoy. Those are the only other two kind of series I read with any regularity right now. But yeah, I'll give Jujutsu Kaisen another try. So yes, many people have mentioned that it's a slow burn for some people. So yeah, I'll probably give it another try just because there's a few other series where that's happened where I wasn't immediately drawn in, but once I gave it like a few tries, then I kind of found the appeal. I was able to get into it. So I'll try that again with Jujutsu Kaisen. With that said, I really enjoyed this stream. Thank you everyone that joined me. It's really a lot of. It's always a lot of fun when you guys comment. I'm able to have like a discussion like this about the chapter and get my feelings validated because it really does make me feel a lot better, especially when 90% of my timeline is like people with stark different opinions from my own. So this is always a lot of fun when I can do stuff like this. So like I said, hopefully I have some stuff out next week. I should. I'll try to get a channel update out as well today because I'm going to try to regiment myself more with the read throughs. I know I've been kind of lax in the last few months with that. So for November, I'm going to try to like actually schedule days and times for read throughs just so I make more of an effort to actually do this video. So I'll have hopefully a channel update with that out sometime today. Mystic said number 8 is great. Shout out to Michael for recommending it. Dude is great about that. That is true. He has awesome recommendations. A lot of series I fall in love with have come in through because of recommendations from him. Really great guy. Morning Say says, enjoy your week, Ash. Thank you very much. I will. I hope you all enjoy your week as well. As always, thank you for tuning in to the stream. And if you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really, really appreciate all your love and support. You guys, you all really are the best. Glad to have you in my corner. Till next time, this is Ash. Talk to you all later.